Around slightly longer. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to put your hands together for our champion jockey, Richard Johnson. Thank you very much. Well, as I was saying earlier on, I asked Richard if he wouldn't mind coming along to this do, and I still thought they had professional races, so unfortunately I expect Dave Robertson bringing up for rides in Hunter Chases. But Richard, thank you very much for coming in. It's been another good start to the season after another brilliant season last year.
No, it's another good start, and yeah, like last year and the last 3 years have been great since AP retired, so that's always been a big help. But yeah, no, even since I started, there were 16 points in it. I've had a charmed sort of run through my career, and again, hopefully got plenty more to look forward to.
Going back to your point, I mean, your family, your grandfather, your father, everyone been closely associated with again.
Yeah, they're definitely farming background, but they were always hunting, and pointing was a massive part of it. My grandfather, I don't think would have won any prizes for style. And
nothing wrong with that.
Well, you obviously learned it from somewhere, but no, I think my dad rode well as an amateur, and he was an only son, so he stayed at home farming, and yeah, good job for me because there's something to go back to now. But again, it was a massive ambition for me to become a jockey. And
well, I mean, I suppose it's a stupid question, but were you always going to be a jockey, were you?
Well, I thought it was much easier than farming. It looked a lot easier.
More money, yeah?
Well, I'm not sure about that, actually. But it looked a lot easier when I was growing up, and I loved riding the ponies. And I've got a brother that literally he's never sat on a pony and no interest at all. So it worked very well, and we were very lucky to. Yeah, I was offered the opportunity at David Nicholson's when I was 16, and probably realistically, I think my mum and dad probably thought I'd be there for 2 years. It was cheaper than me doing A levels, and then I'd go to agriculture college afterwards. So. It's just lasted a lot longer than they thought. I mean, so again, I've had a lot of luck and support. I mean, you need support from a lot of people. You need the horse. That's the most important thing. There's lots of great jockeys out there, but you need to ride the right horses.
And were you any good at school?
Nope. I didn't have too many career options, to be fair. So yeah, I think horses or farming was always going to be the main sort of chances for me to do anything. And again, it's lucky that the horses have gone so well, and obviously I'm back home living at home now, but still leaving my brother and my dad to do the farming, and I'm still lucky to go racing really.
And we were talking earlier on about the way you got into it, but now there's pony racing, the O'Connor Brace and the likes have done so well. Of course, in those days you didn't have that sort of advantage, and you, I suppose, started with Pony Club.
Yeah, Pony Club, and again hunting, and yeah, sort of. Well, whatever was, I think my mum, to be fair, she did a lot of miles when I was young, driving me every weekend to whatever was going on, and again, you need support from your family and sort of get going. But again, I think the pony racing is a massive, it's been a great thing, and I know my little daughter now, she's turned 10 in the summer, and she wants to have a go, which I'm not sure I'm pleased or worried about, but again, it's a fantastic thing. I've got two younger boys as well, I'm sure they'll want to have a go, and as you say, roads. Obviously Bryony, Felix Sir Giles, Sanchez and Davis, but both the Bowen boys, there's so many people who come up through them ranks now, and it's got to be a massive help and a massive thing to keep boys in racing, because I think when I started there was very few young English lads really even trying to be jockeys, so there's an awful lot more around now, and I feel quite old in the wearing room when I look around.
Well, you are!
I'm still a little bit younger than you.
Well, yeah. Hey, so you did well. How many winners did you have pointing?
I think I had 9 or 10, but 2 in the first year, I think 7 or 8 the second year. But again, it happened really I was very lucky that David Nicholson obviously sort of got me going, and when I was 18 and turned professional, so obviously only had 2 years. But again, it was a massive grounding, and I think everyone obviously in here now is obviously massive point fans. But I think it was a great. You're able to sort of learn your trade and make a few mistakes without getting nice comments from TV presenters at the races or Racing UK.
Look at the state of Dickie!
Yeah, slating you. So again, you get to learn what it's all about, and actually also get advice from seasoned professionals. When I was starting, Julian Pritchard, Damien Duggan, Evan Williams, I was very worrying the other day. I rode at Exeter there about 6 weeks ago and got them beaten by Isabel Williams and Evan's daughter, and she pulled up and said, "Oh, do you still enjoy doing it?" I went, "Well, yeah, when I riding with you and think I rode with your dad, it makes me feel very old."
And just going back to David Nicholson's, that must have been quite an experience working there.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. He was he loved young people. He loved seeing people, you know, improve and go on to do better things. And whether it was trainers or jockeys, he nurtured an awful lot of young people in his time. And again, having that support and going to the right yard when you're young, I think is very important. And again, he sort of put manners on me, but again, I learned an awful lot.
It's interesting actually, because A.P. McCoy says at Jim Bolger's, you know, and various the top jockeys, the original yard that they go to seems to sort of set the benchmark, if you like.
Yeah, I think it just you know, hopefully if you learn the right way to start with, then hopefully you'll carry on for the rest of your career. And I think David Nicholson was very adamant that he had his way and that was the only way. So you toe the line or you got out. But if you're on his team, you know, he was so supportive, and I made plenty of mistakes when I started. And if you were riding for him or riding for somebody else, he always had your back at the same time, and he would tell you on no uncertain terms when you got back to the yard behind closed doors what you did wrong. But in public, he would always be very supportive. And again, I learned an awful lot.
You're so busy, I don't suppose you have that much time to sort of reflect on your career, but when you look back, all these big winners, you know, your future father-in-law, you've had a Champion Gold Cup winner for, and you know, champion hurdles, champion chases. It's just been absolutely unbelievable, isn't it?
No, it's incredible, really. And again, I was very lucky to get going when I was very, very young. And yeah, from that day to this day, and obviously this year, you know, having a horse like Native River to ride was, you know, amazing. And I think it just definitely made me appreciate it this year that, you know, I now know how hard it is to get a ride in Gold Cup, let alone, you know, win it. And I think I was lucky to win it when I was young, but yeah, it sort of makes you realise how hard it is to find these nice horses and hopefully enjoy it as well.
I don't think I've ever seen you annoyed, but after we won the Gold Cup, I did an interview with him, did a great, well done, well ridden, Richard, this, that. Then at the end of it, I said, are you going to retire now? And I thought he was going to break down in tears, so it was never going to be a question mark then.
No, look, I'm again, you know, very, very lucky that I've got support of an awful lot of people, and actually I love going racing every day, which is obviously massively important. But you know, where some lads, which is, you know, just have a massive weight problem, you know, doing 10 stone now is not as easy as it was. But again, you know, my weight is, you know, I'm lucky with that. And again, touch wood through injuries, you know, I'm fit and healthy. And as you get older, you definitely realise you have to look after yourself a bit more. But these days, actually, you know, with every race course has a jump race course has a physio out now every day. We have great support from the Professional Jocks Association. And for places like OT House, they're just about to open a new market. They've got Jack Berry House up in Yorkshire now as well. And actually, you know, for amateurs or professionals, everybody can use it, and we're very well looked after.
And the standard of riding now, I mean, you've got your own. I mean, the jockeys all adopted the flat race, toe in the iron style, ride short. You still go for ram as much of your foot as you can get in the iron, smash through every obstacle, why waste time in the air sort of style. Admittedly, it's working.
Yeah, I'm definitely more the traditional style. I don't wear white gloves like you used to.
No.
So, and we thought did retire there. We said we should have given him a white stick to go out on as well. But no, look, I think every style is different. The most important thing is if the horse is balanced and jumping, and again, being on the best horse is the most important thing. But again, styles will change all the time. But again, I've been very lucky to get going as I did, and I thought I shouldn't really change if it's not broken.
Yeah, and what do you think of the standard of people coming up to the ranks? What do you think?
Very good, and you know, obviously it's very, very competitive rides now, and there's an awful lot of good young jockeys coming up through, and I do think the pony racing and, you know, everything else has kept an awful lot more British lads involved. So we used to have literally lorry loads of Irish lads coming over, you know, which was great, but also
at least you can outwit them.
Well, I struggle to outwit many people, to be honest. So, but no, I think, you know, it is, the standard is very high and it's very competitive. So, you know, you need to be on your game, and I need to be fit as a fiddle to try and keep my position. And
how do you sort of go into every season? Do you go into it thinking, are you the type of rider you've got to go full bore all the time? Do you ever think about taking your foot off the accelerator and just say, look, I'll finish in the top 10, win a few big races?
No, for me, to be a champion jockey has always been the only thing I've ever wanted to do. Before anyone says it or Luke says it, I know it took me an awful long time, but you know, again, it's always been my ambition to be champion, and I'd like to carry on. But for me, whether it's, you know, here here tomorrow, or the Gold Cup, a winner, there's something, whatever it is the kick out when you get a winner. There's no better feeling in the world. I'm sure, again, everybody that's ridden in a race, you know, it feels the same thing. Finish second is never, it doesn't matter how big the race is, for me, the winner is the most important thing.
No, finishing second, I mean, you must be delighted when AP finished up, weren't you? 16 times when you second.
I know, yeah, I know, right. Funny enough, we did a piece the other day with TalkSport in London. We were sort of a thing between the two of us, and he was joking that he thinks now that I've actually ridden more losers than he has as well, because he might have had more winners, but he also had more winners and losers than anybody else. But he thinks now, because I've been riding for 3 years longer, I might have outdone him on that.
It was really touchy actually when you retired on that final day. I mean, you got very emotional as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I think it was relief probably, but I think we sat nearly next to each other every day in the weighing room for probably over 20 years. It's yeah, it was a massive sort of shock, and it was a massive change. But again, I did enjoy riding with him, and again, most of you that ride in the room, if you ride with people that do the job really well, actually, it definitely. I think we all ride better, because I was always trying to get to his stand, and hopefully I was pushing him as well. So I think you all, perform better when you're working with and against really good people. So it was a sort of sad day to see him go, but I must admit I was quite delighted.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's an absolute pleasure to have around. A proper gentleman, a champion jockey.